Hi, it's Sue from Aging Joyfully. I hope everybody had a wonderful 4th of July. As you notice, we have a new backdrop. This is a fun, bright colored. It's been a great one. Sammy has enjoyed it. I've gotten some great pictures with her. I've been real busy with the new backdrop. We purchased some new lighting, so hopefully the picture looks better here. A lot going on, just a lot going on here. I'm going to show you some of these beautiful, beautiful pictures I took of Sammy. She actually loves it so much. If you saw our painting video where we painted the front hall, we have a gate that she cannot come upstairs to where this room is. And she actually, when I went to do laundry the other day, she actually pushed through the gate and came up here and was sitting here, and she wanted me to take her picture. She really gets into it. She is posing now, as you can see. She is the ham, and she just loves it. And I don't know why. All I can figure out is when she was a puppy, we used to go visit her and we would take pictures. We visited her every 2 weeks until we brought her home. And we took lots of pictures, and she just loves it now. She just absolutely loves getting her picture taken. And I made some really beautiful cards for Cards of Compassion with her picture. And I've also expanded into the Tree of Life, some stencils and some other things just to give them a variety.
Beat to the city streets, we began to feel the fire. We rise like tall buildings as the chemicals they take us higher. The night's young, it has just begun as she puts her hand in mine. We wanna chase the night, wanna dance to the light, pull the stars from.
Today's topic is scams against elderly in the fraud and abuse senior citizens. It's considered elderly abuse, even if you're, say, I don't know, maybe 60 and up. We may not call ourselves elderly people, but I think it would fall under the elderly abuse category. We've been doing home repairs, simple home maintenance, which I've talked about, that even if it's free, there is the cost of time. Time is valuable. You've given up time where you might want to do something fun, like go hiking, go out in the sun, go to the pool, spend time with your grandchildren, and you're instead doing home repairs and maintenance. Now, we had our can lights in the kitchen start going out one by one. There's 6, and when 3 were out, we finally called an electrician, which I was leery because I knew it would be quite expensive. And it was. I'm embarrassed to tell you how much it cost because I know they took us for a ride with those lights. But we were stuck. We needed lights. As you get older, your vision does deteriorate and you have an increased risk of fall, particularly if you have no lights in that room. So it was getting important that we get these lights fixed. When the electrician came in, he said, I'm going to check your switch, the lights, as well as your panel box. He was training an assistant, and the assistant took the panel off of the switch, which I do all the time when I paint, no big deal, I could do that. And he went to the garage to check our panel box. Now, the assistant was honest, and when he took it off, he mumbled like, no issue here, no problem. So when the guy checked the panel box, the main electrician, and I knew that it was going to be expensive because I asked him when he got there if he owned the company. He said, no, I work for the company, but I have great benefits, great health insurance. Right then I knew, okay, this is going to be 4 or 5 times more than I'm used to paying. If you've got great health insurance, we all know what that costs, then that's going to be pushed into my cost. He also gave me a very beautiful brochure about what we can expect in this visit. And I was like, I don't want a brochure. I want a reasonable price. I really don't want you to be selling me as you're repairing an electrical problem. I don't need something so like when you go to fast food and they upsell you French fries. I don't need to be upsold. So after he checked the panel box, he came in and he said, bad news. He had an iPad. He said, your panel box has been recalled and your switch is bad and your lights are bad. So the switch, I remember, was $240. Well, the other electrician just said the switch was fine. I didn't point that out because I knew that they're trying to take you for a ride, like when you take your car in. As a woman, they particularly try to take advantage of you. I don't know how many men would know electrical issues unless you've been trained in it. But as to the panel box, he says, it's been recalled, and he goes, just sign here on my iPad, and I will change your panel box. He told me our panel box had been recalled, and he gave me the iPad, said, just sign here, we'll replace it. Didn't tell me the price or anything, just said, put your signature here. I looked at it and said, does that say $6,000? He said, yes. You could probably get reimbursed from the manufacturer or somebody. I don't know, it's been recalled. I said, well, if it's been recalled, it should be free. Are you going through the recall? No, we don't do that. Actually, the recall was 2022 and it's expired. I said, recalls don't expire. They don't expire, they're there for danger. So I said, well, I'm gonna go through the recall. I don't have $6,000. And he showed me a picture of the panel box. He said, it's burning hot. Here's a picture. It was just a picture of red hotness. I was thinking, is this a normal picture? There's power going through there. I don't know what's a normal picture and what's not a normal picture. But he said, your house is gonna burn down. It's danger. It can burn anywhere through the house at any point. And I said, well, I'm going through the recall. I don't have $6,000. He pressured me. He even quoted Bible verses. And I really, really do not appreciate him using the Bible to try to scam me out of $6,000. I'm thinking, you think the average person just has $6,000 sitting around that where you could pay $6,000 to you for a panel box? I said no. And then he told me the cost for the lights, which is ridiculous. I can't remember. It was way more than it should have been. And then he told me the $240 for the plate. I said, well, we're not doing the switch. I figured Steve could probably switch the switch out, and the other electrician had told me it was fine. I didn't point that out. I didn't want to say that. And then the lights, we were stuck. We had to do the lights. But this was very concerning to me, that you would prey on somebody's fears. I mean, who is going to say, oh, yeah, okay, my house is going to burn down, I'm not going to do it. So, of course, that made me very, very nervous, thinking my house is going to burn down. I contacted Schneider Manufacturing and checked into it after the electrician left. And he had me tell him the number on the panel box, and he said that we were not in the recall. It was not in the range. I went beyond that, and I saw the electricians who installed the panel box and called them, and they arranged to have somebody come out for free just to check out if it was recalled. That man who came out did not just take the number on the outside of the panel box. He took the cover off of the panel box and looked behind it. He said sometimes the numbers don't match behind the cover. So it's important to take the cover off, get the accurate number. And he said, no, this number is not in the recall. He went through the panel box. He said, this is one of the best panel boxes because it has gaps between each of the little connectors for every room. And another thing that the electrician was trying to swindle me out of $6,000, after I said, no, I'll go through the recall, he said, well, you have no space left in your panel box. If you want to add anything in this house, you have no space. When you want to buy that EV car, you have no place to charge that EV car that you're going to be buying. And I'm thinking, okay, this is highly suspicious. You're telling me my house is going to burn down, and when I didn't file for that, now you're telling me I'm buying an EV car. First of all, the tax rebates are no longer here for EV cars. If I were going to buy an EV car, I would have bought one long ago. I have a perfectly good car that is 11 years old, runs totally fine, and I don't need a new car. So I thought the fact that he was switching tactics told me that he was lying. So I asked the honest electrician who had installed the panel box, what if I want to add something to this house that's full? He said we can actually split one of these slots. We could put a bathroom and bedroom on 1 or 2 bedrooms. That's no problem. So you would not need to expand it. And then I asked him, well, what does it cost if I actually needed a new panel box? He said $2,000 to $2,500. So here's $2,000, 1/3 of what the other man tried to charge me, who threatened that my house is burning down and how dangerous it is to live in this house. I actually wanted to call the BBB and report him. I think a lot of elderly people who are isolated and live alone and nervous would fall for this. They're already nervous living alone, and you don't know who you could trust. Like I said, we were stuck with the lights. We had to replace them, and I knew he was charging me 3 times more than he should be charging me. It was a $150 service charge, and we had to pay that on top of the lights. So my message here today is, don't take anyone at their word. And I hate to say that if they quote Bible verses, it's a red flag. But in my experience, through the years, we live in the Bible Belt, and I've had numerous garage sales, and we've moved so many times I've had to sell practically our whole house of furniture. And every single time I was ripped off, it was somebody who quoted me Bible verses or gave me a check with a Bible verse on it, or told me their parents were missionaries, or whatever. And it wasn't just here in the South. When we lived in New York, a woman bought a love seat of ours for, I don't even remember, maybe it was $80. It was pretty cheap. She folded out the money and put it in my hand, and some voice in my head said, count the money, count the money. And I counted it and it was 60. I said, oh, this is only 60. And she said, oh, I must have dropped 20 in the car. She was hoping I wouldn't count the money, folded it up and put it in my hand. She wanted to be out of there before I counted the money. She, again, said about how her parents were missionaries and how religious she was growing up. I hate that people use the Bible or religion to scam. But look back at Bernie Madoff. He used the Jewish faith to scam all of his Jewish friends and business owners. He used the Jewish faith to have people have a common bond and trust him, to give them their life savings. And he knew that he was taking their entire life savings and that there was no company, and that he was stealing that money and that they would be destitute once the company collapsed. And that's what happened. Many of his friends and family, I think even maybe his mother-in-law, it was close family, they ended up being destitute because they trusted him because he was one of them. So these people in the Bible Belt tried to get a common link saying that, you know, we are the same, we are good Christians. And actually a lot of people use that term frequently. I want a good Christian electrician. So I'm not slamming real Christians who use honesty and don't take advantage of you. But this man clearly putting the fear of fire into our house was clearly taking advantage of us. It was totally wrong. It was elder abuse. And I hope as you age, you keep these things in mind and maybe get a second opinion. At a minimum, I was going to call another company because I was not paying $6,000. I, of course, took this issue seriously and said, no, of course I don't want my house to burn down. I don't want to be in a fire. But at the same time, who has $6,000 in today's environment? As things are getting tighter and tighter, food is going up, gas, or has gone up, food's gone up, gas has gone up, mortgages, rents, property tax, insurance, everything's gone up. You will find more and more people trying to get your money. I get probably 3 or 4 calls a day of people trying to scam me. I don't answer the phone. It just rings constantly. And they say it's an Atlanta number because there, again, it's a common bond. People think, oh, it's somebody I know in Atlanta. No, I know it's a scam. I know it's a scam. I do not answer. And they never leave a message. If they really wanted to talk to me, they would leave a message or text me. So look out. Don't spend your money. Get second opinions. If you're living alone, particularly, they scam elderlies because they are isolated. They are scared. They prey on their fear. They don't want to fall. They don't want to get hurt. They don't want to go to the hospital. They can't afford to go to the hospital. Certainly, I got those lights replaced, which we should have gotten them replaced. It's sad that you have to constantly think, how much is this going to cost that we let it go till it was half of our lights were out? That was ridiculous, really. But we had our lights out on our stairway for probably 6 months to a year because we couldn't reach the bulbs to change them. Finally, my brother-in-law came here, and we were nervous about him going on a ladder, but he put a stick or something in the ladder so the ladder wouldn't move. I wasn't afraid of the ladder moving. I was afraid of him falling off with the ladder because he is 73. He thought, I don't know, that the ladder would move, but no, the ladder has rubber stops. It's a really safe ladder. It's him falling off, getting dizzy and falling off. There's so many accidents from people falling off of ladders, and that's very dangerous. So again, take care of yourself. I hope you had a great 4th. I hope nobody got hurt with those fireworks. And until we see you again, take it easy. Hey, enjoy these pictures of Sammi. She is so pretty. I just am amazed at how beautiful she is and how much she loves posing. So here you go. Here's some wonderful new pictures of Sammi. Sammy and I have enjoyed bringing you this video on elderly and senior fraud and abuse, as well as Sammy's new pictures. She just loves it. I know people don't believe it, but she was downstairs sleeping and barking a little bit as I made the video. And as I edited it, I said, Sammy, do you want to be in a video? Because she kept looking at me while I was editing it. I said, do you want me in a video? And she ran up the stairs and ran right to this spot. I think that means yes, she wants to be in a video. But here she is, roaming around. Sammy, come on, girl. We hope you enjoyed it. And until we see you again, take it easy.